Conversaciones que transforman, palabras que iluminan, encuentros que conmueven. Ceci Taborelli, en una nueva temporada de Citas Conscientes, crea un espacio donde la conciencia y la comunicación te invitan a la reflexión. Citas Conscientes, con Ceci Taborelli.
So used to going through life, trying to fulfill our own agendas, completely dominated sometimes by our own emotions, that we forget what truly matters: authentic connection. When you accepted my invitation to this interview, I ran to just come up with intelligent questions. I outlined a list of topics that I thought my community would be interested in. And when I finished, I felt so accomplished. But I felt so sad and so empty at the same time. I guess I realized that I was inviting you to a scripted encounter. So I just couldn't go on, and I stopped. And I made a conscious decision to make space to meet you. Not as an interviewer interviewed or a teacher student, but more from the rawness of the moment. And I'm nervous and I'm shaky. And I still decided to do it this way, to show up in a different way. So here I am, completely unprepared, but so ready at the same time. And
I love that.
I can feel my mind still whispering right now, like, are you crazy? You're unprofessional. But my heart craves something better, which is true presence. So Gangaji, welcome to this unscripted space. And thank you so, so much for gifting us your presence right now. Here and now.
I'm so happy to be here. And I'm really happy that you were willing to throw the script away, whatever it might be. I mean, that's really, in so many ways, that's the crux of what I invite people to do.
Yeah.
So here you are, demonstrating that.
Thank you so much. You're like melting my heart. I'm feeling more and more comfy. I was thinking about this. Why is it so hard to meet the other person from an open heart? It should be more natural, right?
I think it is originally natural to do that, but it's not our conditioned nature to do that. You know, our conditioned nature is to stay safe, brilliant, but safe. And so that often takes priority in a real meeting. Well, it's what stops a real meeting. And so when I applaud you for throwing away the script, it's to really trust something unknowable to reveal itself in our conversation as equals.
Revealing. I think the revealing, and I've proven this over and over again, is only possible if we're able to remove our masks.
Well, this is the point, you know, that we learn or we discover that open space is trustworthy. It may not follow a preordained agenda. In fact, often it doesn't, but that's an expression of freedom. And so I believe this is just deep conditioning and in our willingness to have the voices in our head say, oh no, you shouldn't do it this way, you should do it that way, and to feel the energy of fear or excitement or worry And still just to open, just to simply open in the midst of that, and to allow what must be revealed to be revealed. However it makes either one of us look, we are then actually meeting each other and meeting everyone who is attending this.
That is so sweet. I actually enjoy the space that is created when I hear you talk, and I'm not ready to give you something right after you stop talking. It allows me to really feel what you're giving me and see what arises in the moment. I'm a devotee of Ram Dass, and Ram Dass always shared what his guru, Neem Karoli Baba Maharashi, shared with him, which was love everyone and tell the truth. And that telling the truth made a huge impact in my life. I can feel the alignment between my inner experience at the moment and my expression of it. And I was so happy because I learned that lesson, I integrated it in my life, it's who I decide to be. I just put it in my backpack and, okay, I'm using it, it's who I am. And then I found you, Gangaji. And I'm like, oh no. Then I hear you say the exact same words, tell the truth, that Papaji shared with you, right? But now, there is a new depth to it. And my understanding of what you proposed was be honest, be authentic, but stop your story.
Well, I think it's really important to approach this by recognizing that the story is not wrong. It's not good or bad. It's not subject to that. It's just not true. It's not the truest expression of who we always are. So stories are incredible. I read stories. I love novels. I read the newspaper every day. I listen to people's stories, and some are horrible, some are terrifying, some are beautiful. But I really never want to do it as an either or, either tell your story or don't tell your story. But the story itself has more depth of meaning and disclosure when you recognize what the story really cannot touch, because the truth of who you are, or who one is, who everyone is not a mental construct, however beautiful our mental constructs may be and often are. So I'm not against mental constructs. When I met Papaji, it was revealed in meeting him that what I was looking for, searching for, really came down to the word freedom. And he was thrilled with that answer, and he said, good, now stop right where you are. I realized later that he said he was happy about that, because once your search in life becomes attuned to freedom, then you are no longer, in that moment anyway, searching for position in life or even happiness in life. Not that you don't want those things, but that's not what your search is. And somehow I had reached that point, and it surprised me when I said the word freedom. I thought it just came out of the blue. But after all these years, I've realized, no, that came from the truth of myself. What I wanted when I met my teacher was freedom. I'm surprised I didn't say enlightenment with whatever concept I had of enlightenment, but I said freedom. And so this that he instructed me to bring to whoever is interested is a vehicle, or it's actually getting out of the vehicle, where we identify ourselves through stories, subconscious stories, generational stories, national stories, global stories, made-up stories, true stories. All of that, it becomes part of our identity. And in order to discover the truth of who you are, which is always free, you simply are willing to put down the story for, he said, at least 1/12 of a second. Because normally our minds are just spinning, tale after tale, and referencing one story to a previous story or a story I read, and a hope that this story will give me something I want, or this story will take away something I don't want. So it's the activity of the mind that for a moment just stops while you're conscious. Because the mind knows how to stop. It stops every night for us to get to sleep. And certainly in dream states the mind is activated, but to fall into sleep, you have to surrender everything of the day. Identity, wants, things not wanted. You just have to stop. To stop in a moment in a day when you are awake. That's what seems like a challenge to people. And I had no idea how to do that. And my teacher just said, give me a thought. And so I had a thought, and I said, okay, my thought is, I hope we have a good lunch. Just a banal, meaningless thought. And he said, that's good. Now just follow that thought backward in time. You just erase lunch, erase good, erase hope, erase have, erase we. I may not have gotten it in the right order.
You're doing it good.
And what's left? And what's left? And what was left and what is left is what's always here. And that's awake consciousness. So this is not about becoming something. It's about realizing what is always here and recognizing that is who you are.
It sounds so easy coming from you.
Well, it's simple. It can be challenging, and I think I should say that. It is the challenge of a lifetime.
It is.
Because we are identified with our stories and other stories, and that's how we define ourselves. Who I am, my name, my parents, my country, what I like about them or it, what I don't like. And that entertains us. And in essence is not wrong, is often mistaken, but it's not wrong. It's just not the truth.
I hear you talk and I feel relief, almost questioning myself. Do I really need to continue to carry all this load? Including those things that I believe I do in the name of love. But how can you do something in the name of love and feel hurt or feel stressed?
Well, feelings come and go. Feelings can be beautiful or horrible, but they come and go like the weather comes and goes. A storm comes in, it can be horrible and threatening and dangerous, but it passes. A beautiful sunrise appears and you can feel in alignment and thrilled, but it passes. So my teacher's invitation for those who are interested is to discover what doesn't come and go, what is always here. Then part of your freedom is recognizing what comes and goes and not attempting to keep something which by its nature goes, or keep something away which by its nature comes. You let what comes come and let what goes go. And feelings come and go. Feelings of wholeness, feelings of happiness, feelings of divinity, feelings of misery, feelings of self-recriminations. They come and they go. Let them, like weather. That doesn't touch what is always here. It's not a feeling. It's deeper than a feeling. It's deeper even than realization, although it is one with realization. It's the truth of who you are, who you always are, not who you can become or who you can remember, but who you are right now, whatever feelings you have, or whatever emotions you have, or whatever self-definitions you have, who you are, that is always here. And in an instant of realizing that, you realize it is and has been always here. I am that. You are that.
I guess that's a relief that I feel in my body. Like there's
Yes,
nothing to be done, nothing to become. I learned not too long ago that through your foundation, I guess it's called Freedom Inside.
The prison program.
There
yes.
you go. You do work with inmates. And I couldn't help but think about how so many of us are not behind bars. And however, we feel so entrapped. And I'm one of those, right? I feel for so many years I built a prison for myself. And it was built with my emotions, my fears, my recurrent thoughts. And I didn't even notice. Now, when you are aware of it, you can start looking at those bars and dissolving them. What is freedom? Is it achievable? Is it something that you have to work towards? Is it defined by your circumstances? Is it defined by your inner world and experience? Where is it?
Well, freedom is not a thing. It's the truth. And that's why I'm really happy to hear that you appreciate the Freedom Inside program, which is, in English, inside is often used for someone who's in prison. He's inside or she's inside. And yet it really works because inside is where the attention is put even deeper than the body inside, but inside the heart or inside underneath all the emotions or inside the pain or inside the suffering, always reveals when one is attentive to that revelation of what is by its nature free. So our bodies aren't free. Our bodies are relatively free if we're lucky and we live in a good situation and we have enough money and support to get the right foods and live in the right place where we aren't poisoned by the air and by warfare. So our bodies can experience freedom, and they do experience relative freedom. But like those men and women in prison, there is some untouchable freedom that no prison can touch, that is free of bars, that is free of egoic or super-egoic conclusions about who I am and how bad I am and how I should improve or how I failed, or all of which is very useful for accomplishing certain tasks. But discovering the truth of who you are is not a task. It's a revelation. It's what a revelation is. Something is revealed to have been always here. So we learn to condition ourselves to survive. And conditioning is a great vehicle for survival. It's another reason I say it's not wrong. I mean, it's a good thing, normally, naturally. And humans did survive. We have survived. And in our survival, we continue to over-survive as we're doing on the planet with all the horrors that follow that, with climate disorder and governments never being able to get enough. And we in the United States are facing basically a madman who is the president. And so all of that is in the name of survival. So the survival has been corrupted and it's turned against us so that it may be the death of all of us, including our planet. But in inception of that, survival, that's a beautiful desire. I want to live. I think all organisms have that. Plants, animals of all kinds, planets. I want to live. I want to flourish. I don't want to die. And that gives rise to a beautiful experience of life. But if you are running from death in order to survive, there's a cloud over your survival. And you can never get enough protection from death, because after a certain age, everyone recognizes that we are all, as form, as bodies, going to die, and as planets going to die, as suns going to die. So that's a revelation that is often avoided. We just get busy with surviving better, so we don't have to think about that, or we don't have to look at that. But the beauty of this lineage from Ramana Maharshi was, as a 16-year-old boy, his father died. And so there was death in the house, and they weren't an affluent family, and so everyone's survival was at risk. And he lay on the floor as a 16-year-old boy and really asked the question, who dies? What dies? And had a direct experience of the truth of his body's death that would come at some point, of his mother's death, of the death of the house, the death of the village, and just stayed with that, which we are profoundly programmed to not stay with. But he counterintuitively stayed with that until there was this huge opening and realization of what dies and what remains, what is always here. And he recognized that the truth of that was that's who one is, each one, not just him. It wasn't, oh, this is me, I will never die. It's, this is who we are, in essence, not in form, not in body, not in blood, not in flesh, not in bones, but in essence, not in personality, not in accomplishments, not in our degrees and our intelligence, but in pure consciousness. Since it doesn't die, it has to always be here. So he spent the rest of his life actually testing that and proving that to anyone who was interested, that who you are, in essence, in truth, in reality, is always here. You are consciousness. You are life itself. Life forms come and go in that life, but life remains. And this is what I offer people, the opportunity to discover that for themselves, not to take it because Ramana said it, or Gangaji said it, or Papaji said it, but to check it out for yourself in a moment of just really meeting death, the reality of death.
Thank you for sharing that. Again, I am observing myself, and regardless of how much what you say resonates within me, I feel like a little soldier fighting in the back of my head saying, yeah, but suffering, yeah, but your relationship, yeah, but money, yes, but politicians, yeah, but the reality, but, and I can almost see the bars from this prison being built again in front of my face. So I assume that if we stop telling ourselves the same story, whatever it is, that is like the highway to peace or freedom. Because as I see it now, you cannot suffer without sustaining a story. And something in me is almost like defensive, like, no, it cannot be that easy.
It's not easy. It's simple. It's absolutely simple, but it is not easy. You have to be willing to stop the momentum of aeons of cultural and personal and genetic history and survival, which is a beautiful thing that is present in our bodies, this will to survive. So it is the challenge of a lifetime. And I don't want to make it sound easy, but I do want to point to its utter simplicity. Everything else is complicated. In a moment when you're willing to let everything about your life, past, present, and future, be over. Oof. Every event, every evaluation, every hope, every success, every failure, finished, over. Then it is simply apparent who you are, that you have always been, what hasn't changed in who you are, in the face of all the changes that have come and gone around that.
So, I may regret saying this, but I'm gonna go for it. I just don't want to offend anyone or sound judgmental, but this just comes to me so strongly because I hear you say stop, I hear you say drop everything, I hear you say tell the truth, knowing that the truth is get to the realization of who you truly are, not the masks and the ego. However, these times we are surrounded by healing modalities, even psychological therapy, family constellations, past life regressions. I would say even prayer needs a story that has to be healed, transcended. So again, I don't want to sound disrespectful to people who offer or consume those things, because here I'm one of those for many, many years. But at the same time, I wonder if we're not falling into a trap over and over again by grabbing, holding on to that story so hard in the belief that we need to heal. And while doing that, we're perpetuating that which we want to get rid of or run away from. I don't know if it makes any sense what I'm saying. I just saw myself so clearly trying to get the healing, because that healing is connected to a story that I made where I need to be healed and rescued. So it's like a vicious cycle where I could never, ever get out of that if I'm not fully conscious of what you just said.
That's so important. I really respect that, and I appreciate you bringing that into the conversation, because this is really only for those who feel, there's something here. This is speaking to me. Oof. It's not for me to say this is for everyone. Papaji told me when he asked me to come out and speak to people, I first of all said, well, what do I say? I have no idea what to say. And he said, don't worry about it. It will come as you speak. And I said, well, who will come? And he said, only those people who are ready. And the way I have seen that over these 30 plus years is that, yes, there are many really beautiful, supportive human healing modalities. And I support that. And I have even told people who are attending, when they were clearly looking for something like that they needed to find a good therapist who could work with them. That everything has its place. So this is not about not that. It's that when you have either found that you're cycling back through the same thing over and over, even though you're actually doing pretty well, that perhaps you are looking for something else, that it's not about healing, it's about what has never been sick, or what has never been ill, or what has always been free. And that's a readiness that really I have found has nothing to do with spiritual practice or knowledge of the great saints, or it's just somehow maybe even a bolt out of the blue, because it also includes people who have spiritual knowledge and association with great saints. It's a mystery, is what I'm trying to say. And so I feel like our conversation here is for whoever is listening to this and attuned to it, if they feel like, yes. If they feel like, oh no, not for me, I respect that. I don't know the timeline for particular individuals. I know where the timeline ends and where it began and what is still here. It was here at the beginning. But people have their own freedom to choose what it is serves them at any particular time.
Yeah, I so agree with you, and that's why I was hesitant about speaking my mind in this respect, because under no circumstances am I meaning that those things are not valid. What I experienced in my own journey is that, like, I was looking at a stain on my shoe and I was looking for someone to remove it. I just couldn't see the difference between the shoe and me, So the moment I was able to see that, yeah, there might be a stain of my shoe and I might need some help because it bothers me, because I want it to be better, different color, more shiny, whatever the case might be, I am not the shoe. And that offered me an opportunity to say, I need a shoe polisher, I need new shoes, I want to get rid of shoes. So I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with that. I think our conversation is inviting people to consider a broader perspective if it resonates with them. It did resonate with me. When I heard you for the first time, Gangaji, I was going through a spiritual burnout. For more than 2 decades, I read all the books, I went to all the retreats, sacred medicine, all kinds of therapies and philosophies, and I was always looking for healing, thinking and assuming there was something wrong with me. Which me is that? Is what, when I heard you talk, blew my mind and my heart and my soul by saying, wait, are you telling me that I am not that? Whoa, wait a minute. And you were like, yeah, stop it. Just stop it. I'm like, I can't, Gangaji. And you were like, just stop it. Even for a second. And then I started playing. And when I played with it, I'm not going to say I found an eternal level of happiness and fulfillment, but I had a taste that's different to anything that I had tried before. So first of all, thank you for that. Because it was so simple that I felt almost humiliated by you at the beginning. I was mad at you. Like, it cannot be that simple. Because that would make me conclude that I wasted 20 years of my life in a senseless hunt or quest.
We have, if you lose your keys in your house, you're looking under everything, under the pillows, under the cushions, under the floor, the rug. Where did you leave them? And then you discover they're actually in your pocket. It's not like that was actually wasted time. It's possible they were under the couch or the cushion or the rug. And so you were doing what's natural. You're looking for it somewhere other than they really are. And so it's natural, and I think that that also generates a readiness to, once again, check your own pocket. Are the keys in your own pocket? And the key is in your own pocket. And the key is really the question, who am I and what is this that doesn't come and go? So, I respect all the different ways that we have looked for this while denying this. In our love of and our respect for and our admiration of the complications of our intellect and our psyches, we really overlook the basic, utter simplicity of the innocent truth of being, which is open and in love and free. It's here in the midst of everything that we have put on top of it, all of our civilization, all of our therapy, all of our changing self-definitions. Just underneath all of that, there you are.
So I have a question for you now. You're triggering different things inside of me, because I did taste that flavor. I love for everyone else to do the same. And what happened to me is that when I try to kind of make them taste that flavor, they resist it. And I'm always looking for, if there is such a thing, a way of holding other people's hands, especially those who claim they are in deep suffering. And I'm not saying they are not. I'm not minimizing their pain or suffering or discomfort. But knowing what we just talked about, you want to kind of shake them so all those keys and things can fall on the floor and make noise, and they would say, here it is, the truth, right? Is there a way that once you've tasted that consciousness flavor, we can best hold those people's hands?
Well, I asked Papaji this too, because this is the question, how to share this, how to pass this on. And I thought maybe if I knew the right words to say, maybe if I had studied Ramana and I could then bring that to people, or I could quote Papaji, which I do, quote Papaji. But he said, it's a mystery. Only those who are ready will be struck by the invitation. And I found that that's true, that there are many people who have heard of me or heard of Papaji or heard of Ramana and read the words and may respect them and like them and want to get whatever I've gotten or they got. But they just don't believe it, or they're not quite ready, or they're too intellectually incurious and are too afraid to stop, because it's a huge deal to actually face death, and we find lots of things what we have to do first. So I've just trusted that over the years, that I have no idea how to support someone, although I offer my support, and I'm very honest about what it is I can offer. And as I mentioned earlier, I have recommended that certain people actually find a psychotherapist, because they were looking for that kind of support. And I am not equipped to offer that, and I have no inclination to offer that. It's a matter of trust. I mean, Papaji told me those who are ready will be attracted to you and will catch fire with your words. And certainly I know that people are attracted, and some seem to catch fire, and sometimes those wander off, and sometimes those go all the way home, realize what is here. It's out of my hands, is what I'm saying, and I'm offering that to you as a way of just relaxing and just trusting yourself and being vigilant to your own, all of our own tendencies to re-identify with something being lost that needs to be found, rather than realizing what is always here can't be lost. It was never truly lost, was felt to be lost, was experienced to be lost, and seemed to be lost. But in truth, the key is always with you.
I love the word you used, and I'm gonna keep it. It is a mystery, and I feel when you accept that mystery, everything falls into place by itself, right? So even if I see someone with dirty shoes, I could say, go get a shoe cleaner. There's nothing wrong with that. But you made me think, now look at your own shoes. How do they look? Are you identifying with them, CC? Do you feel you could not live without shoes, right? So I thank you so much for what you said, because it reinforces the idea that, like Gandhi said, right? My life is my message. Your life should be your message.
I think the shoe analogy is really useful here, because shoes do get dirty, and shoes can be cleaned, and shoes can be polished, or shoes wear out and have to be replaced. But what's inside the shoe? The foot. And what's inside the foot? The energy, the blood, the veins, the vehicles. And inside that, the intelligence that is alive in a foot, in every foot. And if the foot is gone, in the leg. And if the leg is gone, in the belly, in the heart. What is alive and flourishing, even though the foot may be in trouble and the shoe may be a wreck. The truth of the being is alive and here. And this is the very simple invitation. It is a message, but it's a message that's an invitation. It's not a teaching like this is so. It's a message that is inviting those who are interested to check it out in the deepest way.
So there is no formula to catch on fire.
That's right, no formula.
But what if I'm being disrespected by someone and I fall into the narrative of I should allow people to disrespect me?
Well, if someone is being disrespectful to me or to the teaching, then they aren't meant to be with me or with the teaching, and I ask them to leave. But there was a meeting in Boulder, Colorado, early on, where I was meeting with lots of people and where the prison program actually started, and someone was extremely disrespectful to the point of actually not allowing other people to speak. And I finally had to call the police on this person and have him removed, because he needed to be removed, and he refused to be removed by invitation. So I could have sat there and let it continue, and I'm not saying that would have been wrong, I don't know, but I'm saying that you are free. You know, if someone is disrespecting you, whether it's a client or some other person, you say, this is not working. I'm not what you need right now. So it's a mystery. Who is drawn to this and who responds to this? Who is drawn to you as a being and responds to you? And you can trust that. You are free in that. You don't have to take abuse that comes with that. And you don't want to be a model for someone who takes abuse. You know, you are clear with that. And it simplifies things. My meeting with people is simple, actually. If you are attracted to this teaching, and it's on my website so people can check it out and watch some videos before they ever come to a meeting. If you are attracted to this teaching, you're welcome. If you're not attracted, that's fine too, but don't come if you're not attracted to it.
You don't create a story about it. Whatever happens, happens, and you let go and you keep moving. There's nothing personal, there's no fight needed.
I can be feisty, you know. Yeah, I think that's allowed. Papaji could be like that. But you just don't have to spend unnecessary time on it. it's not about some kind of club and you need as many members as possible. It's really just, if this speaks to you, you're welcome in closer. If it doesn't, I give you my blessings and trust that you will find what does speak to you.
I so love that, because I would say if my lifestyle, if my way of thinking, feeling, behaving speaks to you, you're welcome into my life. And if all of us had that kind of process of thinking and filtering reality somehow, so we are not out there wanting to be recognized and accepted and desiring to be seen, then it would be so much easier. So I guess what I'm trying to... No, you don't think so?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying no. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm going, yes, it sounds delicious.
I'm so happy to have this interaction with you.
Me too.
And to be surviving this unscripted interview.
Yes, it's fun, right? It's an adventure into the unknown.
Yes, I would probably go on and on and on. I just want to be respectful of your time. I know how much you do for everybody around you, and I have a lot of admiration. I look at you as a reference in my life, the one that I made up of you. So I'm not even giving you the responsibility of being up to the expectation of that model. It's all on me. I get it. I take it. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for allowing me to show up in this way, Gangaji. I don't know if you'd like to close with anything.
Thank you for just your willingness to open and for us to open this to whoever's interested. And that's the proof to me, the energy of this and the love that's felt here and the respect for each other. That's the possibility of living in harmony with oneself as all.
Thank you again. Thank you so much again. God bless you, and we will meet soon.
Thank you.